Hello everybody and welcome back to the Limbus Company. Alrighty. I was gonna say in this episode, and then I was also there. Oh, you know what? We're just gonna roll with that. So here's what we got planned for this episode. We are gonna do some nocturnal sweeping. However, there is something I wanted to bring up in case you guys don't know this. So, sometimes certain detour tales will get a hard mode. Here's the important thing. That hard mode allows you to earn, quote, quote, double lunacy. Because, for example, I've cleared the entirety of normal mode, which means we're not going to get any lunacy for doing these missions. However, the hard mode missions are technically different missions, so therefore they give extra lunacy. They also give a first time bonus if there's a event going. So just thought I'd bring that up in case some of you guys didn't know that, because hey, more lunacy is always a good thing. But let us begin with the nocturnal sweeping. Oh, we're just getting thrown right in. Dante, any idea where that leftover cake from yesterday went? No idea. I mean, why would I know? I can't even eat. Darn. Did Donkey already get her paws on him? Radia rubbed her tired eyes, muttered something about how we should have partied in her room instead, and stumbled to the back door. The New Year's came swiftly to the inhabitants of the bus after the various incidents at the LCE. The sinners all came from different backgrounds and parts of the city, but annual celebration for New Year's seemed to be a thread that connected their cultures together. They began floating the idea of a New Year's party, and... Excellent! Then permit me the honor of hosting this banquet! With her usual overdramatic boast, coupled with the familiar twinkle in her eyes, Don Quixote declared that there would indeed be a New Year's party. And thus, it was decided. Again, after all the heck we went through with the back door and whatnot for the out-of-season Christmas celebration. Ahem! Yet I must insist, for 'twas but an effort to decorate the bus, the intent quite divorced from the act of celebration. Don Quixote glanced at Sinclair, sheepishly scratching the back of her head. Huh? Oh, don't worry about me, really. Well, 'tis true that mine actions hath brought thee quite the distress, unintentionally, I might add. Thus I ask thee, wouldst thou not agree that a communal event to mark the occasion might freshen both our spirits and bodies? I can't even begin to imagine her amnesiac self even taking a moment to give a about how Sinclair might take it. But I guess with memory came tact. You know, it's our first New Year's together. It sure is an occasion for a celebration, huh? Gotta hear that bell go ding to really mark the transition to a new year, right?
It seems that we shall be welcoming the first light of the new year in company of one another. This is indeed a cause for celebration.
A bowl of noodles before the last night of the year fades. Classic. Oh, such bubbling enthusiasm from ye warmeth mine own heart. Forsooth, the grandiosity of this banquet shall be one fireworks. Fireworks most brilliant. Enough delicacies to...
Charon, when's our next stop?
Medvie'll be running for 3 days at least. Only dum-dums stop on a fast road.
You know what that reminds me of? It has, like, nothing to do with it, but it reminds me of that stupid Family Guy meme of, they're driving, and one of the driver goes, and this is bad, but he goes, "I turn now! Good luck, everybody else!" God dang it. That's what that reminds me of. It's so stupid, but it's... Safety laws, prepare to be ignored.
So she says.
Virgilius muttered with his usual sardonic edge, one fist under his chin. Bye. For next year's celebration, the banquet shall be prepared ere the promised hour. Don's idea of a grand banquet depressingly fizzled into nothingness, but Radia brought out the cakes and cookies she'd stashed in her room, so we could at least hold a small celebration for the New Year's together. After that, we all stayed up together, watched the New Year's first sunrise briefly paint the city in gold, then retired to sleep. Whoa. When everyone woke up, rubbing their tired eyes, the world outside the bus had completely transformed. There was a behemoth of a structure, bizarre in its presence and its walls seemingly made of gargantuan steel plates.
H-Corp?
The sinners began to voice their surprise. Appropriately so, as what came into view was different from any nest we'd passed by on our journey thus far. Is that massive structure all one building? If that whole thing's a nest, where's the heck the back streets? That's enough to cover H-Corp's territory and then some. Well, there he goes again, asking dumb questions without ever taking a peep at the guidebook. That's not the nest. That huge box you see over there, that's District 8. We call it Hongwan, the vast garden here at H-Corp. Hongyuan? Hongyuan? I don't know how to say that. The nest lies within the center of the structure, and the back streets without. Ugh, so they squeeze the entire population of this district in there? Do they just not get a ray of sunlight all year round? Huh. Well, at least they won't have to worry about the rain. For thee, avail me a sight as well! No, she's too short. As the sinners began to gather one by one at the other side of the bus, stirred awake from their late night's rest, I felt my gaze drawn toward Hong Lu. I looked for signs of concern or distress on his face, worried. It wasn't exactly something unique to Hong Lu, but the stories about his past home life we've heard throughout the year, whenever he felt like sharing them, were all consistently and terribly depressing. Ooh, it's not such a bad place once you actually try living here for a while. But his lips, ever so slightly curled upward into a kindly and relaxed smile, are making the same expression as ever. An expression that hasn't changed at all since our first meeting. Maybe it's just a cultural difference? Kind of like how Hong Lu can be so nonchalant about things that should give most people pause, but... Actually, no. I'm not helping anyone or anything by entertaining these thoughts. My job, at this moment, is to keep a close eye on Hong Lu, more so than usual. And if the time comes for me to help him, as a manager, I'll give it my all. Besides... What was that sound? Whoa, this thing's even bigger up close. Verily, I carry no recollection of a structure so grand, even in past adventures of mine. If my efforts aren't enough, I know I could trust the sinners to lend me a hand. Hey, let me see too! I collected my thoughts and approached the sinners, who were flattened up against the glass window to get a good view. Once we left the bus... Oh, man. Can't believe we had to get off the bus here. We have to make a formal complaint against H-Corp for this crap. What the heck were they thinking? Doing shoddy construction work at the entrance of the highway that leads straight into the nest.
Many causes there may be to such construction projects.
I completely fumbled that.
Perhaps an early warning sign ere our approach to the site would have been a sensible
Were it not for young Charon's most valiant drifting. I shudder to even imagine the terrible possibilities. 'Twould have been a most awful end to an adventure. It's no surprise that the sinners all had a piece of their mind to speak. As we drove up to the entryway, we unexpectedly came across a mess of badly put together steel plates blocking our path in the middle of the road. Charon quickly spun the bus around, which meant that everyone ended up being thrown about like rag dolls. Oh, good thing there was another road off the highway that leads into the city, right? I bet Charon would have tried to reverse gear all the way back to last interchange. But looks like we'll be going through all these winding alleyways to get to the nest. It's so dark in here. We were greeted by a dark street upon disembarking from the bus, illuminated only by faint strands of light. It was immediately obvious that we found ourselves in the back streets of H-Corp. Yeah, it looked pretty impressive from the outside, but it's no different from the other back streets inside, eh? Yep, it's a familiar sight. Gotta say, it's getting real old. I ask thee, is the nest of this district shrouded in such darkness as well?
No, these particular sites are limited to the back streets of District 8.
The back streets of this district weren't very different from the other ones we'd visited in the past. People hurrying through the streets as though they were being chased by something. People scowling and glaring at the ground with some sickness or discomfort. Scenes all too common in every corner of the city. There was one thing about this place that stood out from the other districts, however. They're kind of reminding me of the former H-Corp soldiers back at District 4. What? What do you mean? You mean those fellas? The growth on their flesh appeared too organic to be prosthetics. Some of them had odd protrusions or nodules bulging from their skin as well. Not at all, Manager Bud. Look, they haven't all mutated in the same pattern. Like into an insectoid form, for example. Well, I guess I should commend you for not looking at them through a biased lens.
You are observing the aftermath of District 8's distinctive method of treatment.
Oh, so this is where the rumors of that bluish healing ointment came from, huh? Apparently they can cure any flesh wound after just one night dressed in bandages.
It seems that certain misconceptions must be addressed. They are the variations of H-Corp singularity, the bolus.
The bolus?
She is likely referring to medicines brewed and kneaded into ball-shaped pills.
Correct. H-Corp, or Hung Yuan, bioengineering group mainly manufactures boluses that contain essences of treatment. The boluses may be taken orally, ground with water into a paste, and applied directly to the affected areas, or dissolved in water, soaked into bandages, and wrapped around the necessary area for treatment.
Ah, I guess rumors transform as they travel. Oh, I see. I was just thinking about how they do things back at the, H-Corp.
The focus on H-Corp's technology is the reversal or recovery of one's conditions. Returning to the original state is the key word in their treatment. It is no rare sight to find unique techniques and technology developed independently by the inhabitants of the back streets of District 8 using the manufactured boluses. The treatments are not individually customized for each patient. Instead, their focus is on selecting the appropriate technique from a myriad of choices to address the deficiencies in their statuses. Perhaps one could choose the words transformation or evolution as a more illustrative descriptor for their method of treatment.
So, that's what counts as treated? The crowd Sinclair was pointing at certainly appeared unhurt, as none of them were bleeding or walking with a limp, but many of them appeared dazed, staring blankly at nothing or scratching absent-mindedly at their mutated parts.
Ah, they must be the regulars.
Unexpectedly, we found our answer not from Faust, not from Mersault, but from Honglu. The regulars?
Yes, I've heard of them as a child. People who have grown too accustomed to visiting the clinics in search of their mystical treatments. The regulars might appear more intimidating than most people at first glance, but apparently all the side effects they've been stacking changes them in very strange ways.
It is highly likely that their interoperation conflicts or issues will arise when applying highly disparate treatment methods to a single body.
At least it's a cheaper alternative for people who didn't sign up for the life insurance.
You speak of life insurance.
Yes, life insurance. There's a special insurance option to bring the client back to life upon the event of their death.
So, the irony isn't lost on me, but I thought resurrecting people was one of the head's taboos.
The head does not consider the revival via life insurance to be a violation of their non-resurrection taboo.
It is likely that, on a technical level, this revival is actually categorized as brain resuscitation, as opposed to a full resurrection. Degradation of its functions considered, of course.
Another fatal downside to this technology is that, unlike the manager's clock winding, the subject cannot be brought back if their brain is destroyed. Also, there is a risk of significant losses in the process of information transference.
Losses, huh? So maybe some of their mutations could be more than just the side effects of these treatments.
Maybe. But I heard it takes more than 1 or 2 revivals to change that much. And since apparently people in the back streets could never even dream of paying consistent insurance renewal rates, so... After all, who would sign up for insurance if using its services could reduce them to such pitiful states?
Yeah, they appear pathetic and pitiful to you, Rich, don't they? You'll soon be in the same boat as them, so save some pity for yourself.
Identify yourself. A stranger's voice cut through our discussion like a foreign instrument. We turned around to find a large group of people who were clearly up to no good.
You must be the young master of that high and mighty Gia family, eh? I can tell just by looking at your pretty face.
Your friends, Honglu? No. I haven't had much chance to get acquainted with people from the back streets, so... Nope, I've never met them before.
Of course you haven't. Too busy living large, playing gods in a whole different world from us plebs, huh? Not that it matters. We're just here to take the thing you brought here for submission to the family hierarchy evaluation.
The what evaluation? Okay, there's clearly been a misunderstanding.
There's quite a lot of them. We're not off to a great start here, huh?
Man, actually, no. It'd be a violation of our office's core values to just jump them like we're some common thugs. I, Shan San, third son of the Triax office, challenge Gia Bayou of the Gia family to a duel. Our wager will be that the winner can take anything they want from the loser.
Wait, what do you mean a duel? A duel?
Oh, God.
I have heard tales that duels of the Honorable Fixers of the Sink Association Eastern Branch announce their intent to duel by stating their affiliation and name, instead of casting their gauntlets. And the pamphlet of the young Ishmael presented before me earlier presented the truth that the Triax office is indeed an office of the Eth, though they are indeed of a lesser quality. 'Tis a true, genuine, accurate declaration of a duel that we must behold.
So, it's just a fancy way of saying 1v1 me, let's go, isn't it? I mean, this guy doesn't look too tough. What do you think, Faust?
Agreed. This individual does not seem to possess any particularly exceptional skill that may pose difficulties for Hong Lu. I think it's going to be okay. I'll be back in a minute, Dante.
You sure this is okay? I don't think you're gonna lose against him, but, you know, just in case.
No worries. I have some childhood experience with duels myself. I've done about 10 of them, I think.
Ha! So the rich boy's dabbled in some duels, has he?
I think you misunderstand. I meant to say that I've done about 10 of them a day. Oh, but grandmother sometimes lets me skip them, so it might have been slightly fewer than that on some days.
What?
I, Hong Lu of the Limbus Company. No.
I'm so glad that I don't have to do Hong Lu's voice through his chapter. Because I could not keep this up for an entire chapter. A half chapter, sure. But my cheeks hurt.
I, bow you of the Gia family, accept this duel.
Hong Lu stepped forward confidently as the opponent was processing what he just heard. For a moment, Hong Lu stood there in a stance that did not express even a hint of aggression, but curiously cocking his head to the side.
Sorry, are we waiting for something? Oh, so I always let the opponent get the first 2 moves in a duel. Please, don't hesitate.
Let me, you little... Your cocky pride shall be your downfall!
The man who introduced himself as Shan San leaped toward Hong Lu. Then, after about a minute...
How is this happening?
Unlike Shan San, who was throwing punches and swings with boiling hot passion, Hong Lu was effortlessly gliding between his opponent's strikes like he was out on a picnic. As though this was but a leisurely stroll through a garden. Whenever Shan San threw a powerful punch, Hong Lu redirected it to the side with ease, the fist only grazing his clothes. We were mesmerized by the feathery light movements of his hands and feet that effortlessly glided through the air. Until, after one blink and you'll miss it moment, we realized that Shan San was already face down on the ground, defeated.
Oh, young Hong Lu, hast thou been concealing thy full strength in our presence? Oh no, I wouldn't say that. I always put my all into every fight. Yet to defeat this foe so soundly, to dance with such grace between his strikes is... 'Twas as though thou wert dueling someone whose skill may only measure against a child's. But most of our fights happen in environments with a lot of variables, and we usually fight against enemies with all kinds of unexpected weapons and powers.
You read him. Already familiar with that fool's moves.
Oh, yes. One of my Biwu instructors used similar techniques as this gentleman here. Practice makes perfect, and perfection makes an expert, right? Hoo-hoo.
Right, but I'm not sure if that's entirely relevant here. Well, anyways, looks to me like he soundly kicked your behind in this duel. Let us through, why don't you? And preferably not do the thing I think you're about to do.
This duel wasn't overseen by a notary office anyway, and our employer's not gonna let this failure slide if we just leave.
So basically, if we win, we're taking everything you have. If we lose, we're all gonna jump you. Yeah, that sounds right.
Don't just sit there, move your and jump him.
Pathetic.
I can kind of see how we're becoming experts at getting jumped. With the bitter cry of the defeated, his gang rushed toward us. What is this music? Okay, it gets a little better once it starts going, but yikes. Some have ponytails, some don't. Awkward Tri-Axe Office Fixer.
Sudden strike.
On use, gain 1 haste next turn. On hit, inflict 3 bleed.
Muscle slice.
On use, if this unit's speed is faster than the target's, coin power +1. If target has 3 plus bleed, base power +1. On hit, inflict 2 bleed count. On hit, inflict 2 bleed count, and 2 bind next turn.
Indiscriminate attack.
At 7 plus speed, coin power +1. If target has 4 plus bleed, coin power +1. Clash win. Deal more damage based on clash count, +5% per clash count, up to 50%. Oh. On hit, inflict 5 bleed, and then on hit, inflict +2 bleed. Count. Your guard is gain 3 shield for every type of negative effect on self. Oof. That counters our team. On clash win, inflict 2 bind on the target next turn, once per turn. Alright.
That's all you had? Weaklings.
Weaklings. You could also say weak things. This really isn't a great start, fellas. It's never easy, is it? Hey, at least we got a nice warm-up. It wasn't all bad.
I don't know, this seems more serious than our usual street brawls.
Did it? Because that was a real easy fight. Then again, we are using all, H-Corp stuff, so there is that. Ishmael's right. They weren't your everyday thugs who pick fights with random people for no good reason. Are you sure? They were contracted by someone to specifically target and eliminate Hong Lu. And given how open they were about their intent, calling it a contract, it doesn't seem like whoever gave the contract was exactly going for subtlety. Then, maybe this is what Jia Chichun was talking about way back when she mentioned surviving as heirs. Whoever's behind this must have a bone to pick with Hong Lu. Indeed, it seems that we must expect more skirmishes like this going forward. Alas, was this trial not readily overcome? Not the point. Think on it a little more. It seems like they're assuming that Hong Lu's brought something here in order to participate in that family hierarch evaluation. Then there's no reason to assume that we've seen the last of them. They're gonna try again to take out the competition. A highly accurate assessment of the situation by the executive manager. I expected no less from someone of your genius. Going for the classics of brown-nosing today, Otis. Since when was it brown-nosing to compliment a job well done? Do you not expect...
This inane conversation is most riveting, but I would prefer some silence while we wait. It seems that the company foresaw such difficulties. They've sent you a support team to help handle this issue.
We heard voices coming from behind us, from where Virgilius pointed. Oh god, is it the commander lady? I don't even remember how she talked.
My, you guys still haven't learned how to stick to the plan, have you? It really threw me off when I was told to meet you in some back streets location, away from our agreed rendezvous point. A familiar voice. A voice we could not forget.
You're alive? How? You were torn apart. How are you alive? You were literally torn apart. What? Then again, actually, you know what? On second thought, H-Corp ampules, whatever we're at, corpse, singularity thing that revives people they were just talking about. Huh. God, nobody really dies in the series, do they? I'm kidding, of course. Literally, that's the whole thing, is that they die, but still. How'd you talk? I don't remember. Been a while, everyone. You're alive? Oh, no. You're Pilot. You're not the other one.
I'm here too.
We turned around to follow where the voice was coming from, and recognized the two people we'd been hoping to see again. Sod?
And hey, Pilot, right? What's wrong? It's like you're all looking at a ghost. Pilot, didn't you tell me that you shared my news with them last time?
I did. I sure did, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, you did. The sinners each recovered from the initial shock of seeing them again. And soon, their faces began to bloom with relieved smiles.
Well, good to see that things haven't changed much around here.
We're so glad to see you're okay.
TikTok to you too. Good to see your gears are turning just fine.
Smiled with a familiar grin. She did not seem to have changed much since the last time we met, save for a few minor differences. Her outfit and her badge, for example. Last I recall, you were promoted, yes? Allow me to congratulate you.
Yeah.
Or the hints of melancholy hanging from her smile and flickering in her closed eyes. Hey! I am merely congratulating her on her promotion and offering a recognition of her excellent accomplishments. I don't see what your problem is here. We all know the meaning that promotion carries. Indeed. And it is very profound. After all, what meaning is there to a promotion attained without spilling some blood? You're a real piece of work. Let me ask you something then. If everyone behaves like you do around her, tiptoeing around the facts, keeping it hush-hush about what happened, where's she going to get the bare minimum of the recognition and consolation she deserves?
Hush-hush would have been nice. I've even overheard some of them whisper that I let my partner die, just so I can snag a promotion. So, in that regard, I appreciate that, Otis. If we're being technical, I did die, except my brain was intact. Not even H-Corp's regenerative ampules could have revived me if it wasn't.
Did Effie also?
Apparently they went right for Effie's head when they stabbed him with the prosthetic. According to the coroner's autopsy.
H-Corp ampules, life insurance. Neither of them can revive someone with a damaged brain.
It is what it is. Anyways, let's not dwell on the depressing stuff. We're here for work. Let's get some work done. So let's talk about work, okay? Pilot?
Yes, ma'am. Well, let's see here. Coincidentally, I happen to make friends with a feller who has ties to the Gia family, so I brought him over.
Hey, is that everything?
Yes, sir. Briefing over.
You know what? I gotta appreciate it, keeping it short and sweet. Just as everyone was reeling in stunned silence at the least informative, least helpful briefing we ever had the displeasure of sitting through. Ishmael was the first to catch herself. She looked up at Sod.
Sod, can we rely on you for some elaboration here?
The briefing was a good demonstration of the necessity of educating the 5 W's and 1 H principle.
Looks like we have a lot to discuss once we get back, pilot.
Did I do something wrong? Shh. Pilot, buddy, just stop. You're digging yourself a deeper hole with every word. Gregor quickly leaned in to warn Pilot, but it was likely too late. A nigh unnoticeable crease had already formed between Sod's brow.
Prior to commencing this high-priority operation, it was necessary for us to find individuals with connections to H-Corp. So, we, as the preliminary observation unit, were put to the task, and we managed to establish a connection with an individual.
Ooh, someone from my family?
No, we tried, but your family proved to be a rather difficult nut to crack. However, as we were wasting our precious time with all of our leads, Pilot pursued an unconventional method to establish his connection. I really didn't hold back on compliments then, and this is how you... Our collaborator is a former employee of the Gia family. After leaving the family, he now runs a lodging business.
Then it is likely he is far removed from the family politics. Less motivation for him to attack us due to these conflicting interests.
Yes, and according to Pilot's report, he still regards the Gia family positively.
How can I not, considering the blessings they have given me? An unfamiliar voice butted into the conversation, as though to continue Sod's explanations. There's too many voices going on.
I humbly present myself before the fellowship of young Master Bayou. Please, call me... King Tao, Queen Tao, I don't know.
He greeted us in a most polite fashion before bringing his hands together in an odd motion. Oh, is this how people greet each other here? Yup, it's called the gesture, bringing fist and palm together to express respect and peace toward the receiver. Aha! Knights greet each other by shaking their hands for the self-same purpose. Forsooth, thou art indeed one most possessed of a chivalrous spirit. I think I'm gonna need to do a vocal warm-up directly after this one, because apparently my voice does not know how to do half of these voices.
Ah, indeed. Much did I worry about the qualities of people young Master has surrounded himself with, but I see that he is in company of those wise in the ways of the West. I prostrate myself before the vast breadth of your knowledge. What grand generosity it is to open ajar the waterways of wisdom to quench my barren lands.
Huh?
Something feels familiar about this.
Nah, she's been getting less and less verbose with bootlicking these days. Not like this guy, for sure.
That's true. He's kind of like... How should I put this?
A bit much?
What are you guys talking about? Communicating only by the sound of a ticking clock. This is something I had already known ahead of time, yet... What a most curious exchange to behold in person! Brief this journey may be, yet I shall find myself thoroughly entertained in its entirety. Ha ha!
Maybe it's a subtle sprinkle of disrespect that reminds you of the usual flavor.
Wait, is this about me? You dare!
Ahem.
Was all that bootlicking she did supposed to be a source of pride for her or something? Otis shook her head with clear distaste and strode toward me. We are nothing alike, Executive Manager. Never have I once said such empty flattery in your presence, filled with nothing but hot air and superlatives.
I'll leave the guidance to the back streets to him. Well, looks like this is where...
Solda fell silent, her eyes lingering on Virgilius, who stood somewhat apart from the rest of us.
So I finally get to meet the Red Gaze. In the flesh. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Ify would have loved to be here.
Manager.
Virgilius seemed to sense her lingering gaze and walked toward us after nodding slightly in her direction.
Manager Sod.
Let's not make this any longer than it has to be. I'm not happy to be helping you with our businesses. I'd much rather put this behind me as soon as possible.
Oh, please. It's our historic first collaborative operation, isn't it? Can't you spare a little more time with us?
The guide bud's actually doing something? That guy?
Yes, unfortunately, LCC has our own business to take care of today, so I won't be accompanying the LCB this time. And the Red Gaze will be helping us to get it done.
Taking Meffy there. Vroom vroom.
Maybe it's not that unfortunate now that I think about it. I feel like every mission with the LCB has always been an uphill battle to get anything done. Well, you see, back then we were... Haha, just messing with you. I'm sure we'll have another chance to work together again.
Boss, we don't got much time.
Wait, before you go, I think you owe us some explanation, Virgilius.
I will leave the details to Miss Faust. I am quite busy.
Very well.
Virgilius turned around and left toward Mephistopheles with an oddly disgruntled expression.
Well then, I'll see you around.
Next time, I'll show y'all. I'll show you that I can carry my own weight. You know, oh boy, the last time we met, I was really so darn pathetic.
Pilot, competence is shown through action, not words.
Solda and Pilot gave us a light nod before following Virgilius. Some sinners opened their mouths to speak, hesitated, then closed them again. We let them go without a word. Perhaps we didn't know what we could say to not make this an awkward farewell.
Very well. Please, this way.
Or maybe we were simply mindful of this guy who was responsible for the quality of our stay. Oh boy. Singing voice. Deep resentment on to be washed away. Alright. Deep resentment ought to be washed away. For when the far one comes betwixt, the burnt door shall a star fall astray.
Are you sure we're going the right way? I don't like the sound of these weird songs.
I already forgot how you talked. Dude, I already forgot how he talked. You know what? We're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. He's probably gonna die, like, really soon anyway. Maybe. Or he's an assassin. I don't know.
The main streets are most likely teeming with those seeking to bring harm to the young master. We must venture an alternative path.
And like he said, there weren't any skirmishes once we made it deeper into the dark alleyways. The lack of foot traffic would normally be pretty unsettling, but I guess that's what we needed at this moment.
As for the song, it's a song that that's become rather popular in the back streets in the recent months.
The lyrics are pretty, ominous for a popular song.
It is a song that's spread through word of mouth. It sings of how the decimated Kong family... This is not the place to discuss such matters. I will share the tale in a more appropriate setting later, should we come across it.
I didn't know there was a song like that.
Is this the first time you've heard of it too, Hung Lu?
He's a posh git from a posh family. I doubt he's ever set his precious feet in the back streets, so it's no wonder he's never heard anything like it.
I have been to the back streets before, but Heathcliff isn't wrong. I did spend most of my time in my room.
That is precisely why you were the most treasured one of them all, young master. Much like how the jade of the greatest worth is to be cherished, prized, and hidden in the deepest depths of one's coffers, where none shall reach.
I'm like him?
To a lesser degree, particularly as of late.
So that guy used to work for the Gia family, huh? Do you know him, Hong Lu?
Young master, is there something on my face?
Huh? Hong Lu stopped himself as though a thought flashed in his head and glanced quietly in my direction. Then,
It's nothing. Shall we continue walking down this road?
Indeed, humble as I may be, I am very well versed in the roads of this area.
Hong Lu shook his head at me as he casually changed the subject. It was as though he was trying to hide something we know from King Tao. Should we be suspicious of something? I mean, okay, this is literally the easiest game ever. Dante, ask if he is a threat. Tell Hong Lu to either hum or shake his head. If he hums, we know to be extra on guard. If he shakes his head, we know it's fine.
He is a collaborator, but only a temporary one. A degree of caution would be advisable.
Oh my god. Just literally, he doesn't hear you. I know, okay. In Dante's defense, it would be so goddamn hard to, like, keep a mental note that, right, there is only 12 people that 11. How many sinners are there? However many sinners there are, only they can actually understand the words coming out of my mouth, and no one else can. In his defense, that would suck. There's no way I would remember it consistently 100% of the time. But you already know that he doesn't know what you're saying, so just ask a question to Hong Lu and have him do like something really simple, like hum, shake your head, maybe, flick your hair if it's like, like something. There's so many ways that you could do this. Given pilots clear inexperience and naivete, we would do well to remain suspicious of this character. Faust and Otis approached me as Hong Lu was nodding along and chatting amicably with our guide. Well, looking back at our journey so far, I think we learned our lesson about blindly trusting every collaborator we come across. That's fair enough. But still, there's a lot of ways that you could do this. With this growing mistrust in mind, I slowly made my distance from the guide before asking Faust the burning question. So, what was that back there with Virgilius? Something about him going off to help them out?
The consequences of his actions at Wuthering Heights. Oh. His actions were a violation of one of the more important items in his contract with the company. He is simply taking responsibility for the breach of contract.
I think back to the incident at the manor. Feels like such a long time ago now. Well, that's kind of a bummer. He really helped us out of a pickle. What? That's what they're dragging him away for?
Is there a problem, honored guests?
It's nothing at all. No problemo, right, Ryoshu?
You idiot.
Mersault, can you carry Heath for a little bit? He's dead tired.
It will be done.
Heathcliff, punched in the gut by the hilt of Ryoshu's sword, fell forward right onto Mersault's welcoming shoulder. Radia?
You know, the kind of person I hate the most. The kind of dull people who can't read the room. Don't you feel the same way, Dante?
Adjusting his tie. Yup. Mm-hmm. I nodded enthusiastically as something seemed to imply that she wasn't really asking me a question. I don't think she was about to punch my lights out, but...
Rodion and Ryoshu judged correctly this time. Classified company information must not be discussed in the presence of an outsider. Reminds me of the time he got knocked out cold for a while because he kept asking questions without raising his hands. This guy just doesn't learn, huh?
Just successfully preserve the secrecy of classified information without spilling blood. I applaud this policy.
I did good, didn't I?
I'm just not a fan of how they're treating Heathcliff like dirt now. Fair? I'm with you, Dante, because Heathcliff has quickly become one of my more favorites, but... especially Earl King Heathcliff. Wink! But, still, as far as we know, King Tao is just like an assassin in disguise. It's probably better that he does not know a thing. So, on the one hand, I get it. On the other hand, you probably could have just shushed him by, like, stomping on his toe or something. If it is no problemo, as you say, then that is well indeed. Yet I worry that it appears that the problem has found us anyway. I stopped and looked around, realizing that we were surrounded by a group of people wielding various weapons in their hands.
What, happened to finding us a safer path?
It is likely that my guidance has indeed given us a much safer path from the more obvious skirmishes. However, to my great regret, it appears that the more observant of our enemies have tracked us here. Then why are you even here for? Isn't it your job to prevent this exact scenario?
Let's leave the finger pointing for later. We're gonna have to take them all down.
They must not be allowed to disseminate our current location.
Exactly. Where are you slinking off to, Mr. King Tao?
I must regrettably and humbly say that my talents in war are terribly lacking, so I intend to become scarce for a moment. Yet, I have the utmost faith in the strengths of our young master and his honored guests in overcoming this adversity. So... King Tao was already standing so far away from the front lines that he was practically hiding behind me. Faust, anything you could tell us about these enemies?
No, but a consultation with the Gesellschaft seems unnecessary if we are to determine whether negotiating with them is an option.
They're coming. Mersault, wake Heathcliff up and set him down.
It will be done.
Ooh, unique enemies. I really like how they look. Okay, the casual outfit with like the two kind of cutlassy type weapons and the ponytail. Mwah, beautiful. Cleave. On hit, inflict +2 bleed. Count. Leg wound. Coin power +1 for every 3 bleed on the target, max of 2. On hit, inflict 2 bleed. On hit, inflict 2 bleed again, and inflict 1 paralyzed next turn. Coin power +1 for every 3 bleed on the target, max of 2, and on hit, inflict 2 bleed up to twice. Counter. Before getting hit, gain 2 shields for every type of negative status on self. Yikes. Once again, not good for us. Unhit. If this unit has shield, inflict 1 paralyze on target next turn. Oh, that really punishes you for not hitting them hard. And no passives to speak of, really. And then you're different. Slice, inflict 3 bleed. Okay, relatively the same, and the same, but a different color. Okay. Interesting. Well, I didn't show the last fight, but I will show this one. Just to show you, it turns out H-Corp really was ahead of the curve, huh? So here we go. This magic bullet. Uh-oh. Wrong target. Oh, painful. Not the end of the world, but painful. Okay, you're gonna take 10% more damage, a little bit of sinking. Now, this is where it gets fun. Initiate a block. We're gonna deal stagger and go into depression mode. Then we go double red for resonance, double blue for resonance, and then some nice one-sided attack to get some love-hate. Bonk. Ugh. Okay, we do end up getting a stagger. That's good. Okay, a little bit of stagger damage done, I saw. Arcana Pierce will all but get us a stagger. See, what I tell ya? Always have confidence in your abilities. Okay, unfortunately, Dawn not rolling very high, so that damage did basically nothing. We're pierced with 1 out of 3 swords. You know what? Wait, we're not in depression? Are you serious? Wow, okay. Let's go double purple, because that'll be the most damage. And then smash, crash, burn. Okay, good stuff. Winning these clashes, very, very nice. We didn't hit heads with Radya's block, so unfortunately not a lot of stagger, but that's fine. Halfway to a red stagger. Not dead. Did get close. If we hit heads, it might have. If we hit heads on the first one, it might have. We're definitely in depression state now, so that is what we want. Dang it. I thought we could do the magic, the beam, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. We are in depression stance, so I'm very confident we're going to win those clashes. We get a resonance in pride. This fight's over.
Fare thee well.
The slam down is so fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, it probably hurts. Fun to see though. Okay, if you manage to survive, you're getting debuffed next turn. Radya ensures that that guy's never seeing the light of day. Same with that one.
And you are ground into dust.
Ooh, we actually do have quite a bit more. Okay. This fight ain't over yet. Let's go ahead and get resonant. Actually, let's get our third sword impaled. Then double red, double yellow, double blue. You know what? And then let's buff Otis up. It's really I mean, I don't think I have to think on it too hard. Definitely not as hard as I just did. But still, better safe than sorry. You never know what they're gonna dish out. Okay, plenty of damage going down. Unfortunately, not a stagger on our side. And didn't have a shield, so we're not going to get paralyzed. It's not tier 4, and it's not a kill, so we're not going to get any friendly damage up. Ouch, one-sided attack, that sucks. Third sword is impaled, so we are now max power. Let's see. Bop bop. Into both Giga moves. Into resonance. Oh yeah. If this doesn't kill all 5 of them, I'm gonna be very surprised.
Death awaits.
Oh god, it's such an overkill move. Oh, I love that move so much. Beautiful multi-hit.
정리되었습니다.
And that's a fight.
Hostiles in the immediate vicinity have been eliminated.
Our collaborator, who'd been hiding far from the battle, quickly ran up to our side as soon as the fight ended. He was probably hoping that we would just die. Are you unhurt, young master? Yep, I'm totally fine. Of course, our honored guest's martial skills were all exceptionally brilliant. But, young master, your light was the brightest even among the incandescent. This humble servant could not hold back his tears at this wondrous sight, to witness such excellent martial arts from none other than the young master himself. What an unexpected surprise.
But don't the children of the Gia family,
Wow, that voice took a lot out of me.
undergo all kinds of strict training regimens from childhood?
It was simply my assumption that young master had ceased his trainings once he departed the family.
Anyways, how do you think they tracked us down anyway?
Oh, Sinclair. Oh, Sinclair. About that. It appears that we weren't exactly tracked down. Perhaps it may be that the ilk who lurk in these parts of the back streets recognized the young master's venerable countenance. I don't think my face is that well known. The family hierarch evaluations are nigh. Every soul living in Hongyon must know the face of the young master, who is loved by every elder of the family. It must be that they are under the assumption that you are carrying something of great value. Family hierarch, huh? Didn't Jia Chichun say something about heirs back then? They all assumed wrong then. I didn't bring anything precious that the elders might be looking for. Young master, even now. I just couldn't care less about it. That's all. Besides, many of my siblings are much better fit to be the family hierarch than I am. Huh. That's... well, that is indeed a relief. Yeah, what a relief it is. You were just hoping for us to die so that you could get something of value, so that you could get into the good graces of the elders. I'm on to you.
A relief, is it?
Well, but of course, it is a highly dangerous endeavor to partake in the hierarch evaluation, so it is of great relief to know that young master is not putting himself in unnecessary danger. I guess that could be a relief. Sort of.
Whew. Now that we all took him down.
Took them all down. There shouldn't be any more on the way.
Right?
Greg, can we not jinx ourselves for 1 second?
Why are you laughing, Ryoshu? Now I'm worried. Fair. Please do not concern yourselves any further. We will take a more clandestine path. I guarantee a safe and easy passage to our destination. I still have a hard time buying that. The lay of this place would constitute a perfect place to set up an ambush in most places. Yet you claim this to be the safer path. Yet I must ask you to place your faith in this humble servant, for Hongwan is not like most places. Fine, for now. Otis shut her eyes for a moment, out of retorts, then turned to look at Ishmael. Hey, Ishmael, you must have a pamphlet of this place handy, don't you?
No way. You're actually gonna read it?
Why else would I ask?
No, I mean, how could I not be caught off guard after almost a whole year of getting brushed off by everyone? Every time I plead with them to read the dang pamphlets. Like, heck, did no one think to...
I will find my own intel if you're just going to ramble on and on with your grievances.
Okay, fine. Here it is.
Otis opened the pamphlet and began intently glaring at its text, as though she didn't want to miss even the smallest detail of information in there. Suspicion clear on her knitted brows. We were on a desperate run, all the while fighting off hordes upon hordes of enemies.
Oi, what happened to safe and easy passage? Explain this stuff.
It appears that the young master's radiant counterist was made known.
I thought we were finding a more clandestine passage. How come we're even getting jumped by more enemies?
As I have said, the young master's radiant...
At least try to give a little variation to your excuses.
I cannot so easily say that he is being untruthful, given the disjointed allegiance of the enemies attacking us. Otis played with the pamphlet in her hand, clearly frustrated but unable to establish anything concrete. For people without a clear allegiance to attack a member of the Gia family. Looks like everyone in the back streets has been getting pretty plucky while I was away. Back then, I couldn't even catch a glimpse of their faces. They'd all be on their hands and knees whenever we walked past. What a wonderful change.
Oi, shove that wonderful change up you bloody loon. How much longer till we get there?
Two different sides of the coin? Oh, that's great.
My Kazan? Cousin? My cousin. Aha. My Kazan is near. Calm your worries.
Our guide seems oddly calmer now than he did at the beginning of this journey. Did he really get numb to all the violence that fast, or...
Speaking of which, what's a Kazan? It is a term commonly used to refer to taverns, inns, or equivalent places of lodging in this region. Lodging, huh? Like a hotel? It's gotta be pretty fancy then, huh? Do they serve, like, complimentary snacks and drinks like the warp train?
Oh god, I hope not.
Not sure about that, but it seems like Kazans also serve alcohol and food alongside their lodging services. Maybe we can get a meal in there.
Or maybe we'll get jumped in there. And, hopefully we won't be attacked there like this. Residential non-aggression taboo. Any mutual acts of violence inside a residential building is, within this particular area and floor of Hongwan, a taboo. Really? Really? If there was no other evidence that you were not on our side and evil AF, that's it right there. Oh, they would never attack you in there. It's against the law. You really think they care about that? They're trying to kill what's essentially a prince. You really think that, oh no, the rules, like, you really think that's gonna stop him? Yeah, he's evil. That red flag eclipses the sun. It's so bright.
A taboo. We may rest easy within then.
I saw Faust's eyebrows slightly twitch, as though she had just heard the most ridiculous thing. But I guess I'll ask her about it later. I mean, I'm with Faust. I am completely on Faust's side. You know the Will Smith where he's got like both of his hands out? That's me right next to Faust. Like, I am so on her side right now.
Ooh, man. If it's for some kind of family hierarch or family head selection contest, why couldn't they save all this fighting until then?
Because it would be too late.
Late how?
Every hierarch candidate must have brought incredibly precious treasures with them. It would be nice if they believed that their own treasure is the most precious of them all, but...
But everyone's gonna try and take each other's just to be sure. I see. Just in case someone else brought something even better than their own. And might as well kill them too, for the sake of convenience.
Is that how the folks in your family think? What kind of line of thinking is that?
But other families didn't seem too different from mine. Phew.
Dang.
Deepest apologies for intruding upon the most enthralling conversation. However, we may be inviting even further trouble by dallying here. With that, the guide pulled out a watch to check the time. You're from a different district. I knew it. You're even more evil. You're part of H-Corp. You want to steal all of our time. It will be... Oh, never mind. You have a watch for a totally different reason. Fair enough. H-Corp theory, completely out the window. That is why you have a... That is why you have a watch. It will be...
Nighttime soon.
Now, here we are.
Is this the place?
After running through alleyway after alleyway, after turning corner after corner, we finally came across a sight of several small buildings tightly built next to one another. At the center of them was a building lit with red lamps, adorned with a door plate with complicated-looking letters scribbled over it. This is shoddier than I expected. Oh, sorry. Dude. Wow, this looks like crap. What a first reaction to have. That is, that's something. It's certainly a first reaction. Hey, isn't this place a bit too trashy to house your precious young master? That is not our building. Please, look this way to see where our honored guests will be staying for the night. Aha! I knew it. I heard so much from Honglu about all the splendor, all the... Huh? We followed King Tao's finger and arrived at a small warehouse of sorts, its exterior painted in black. That looks smaller than even Mephistopheles. Can we all even fit in there? Hey, that place looks trashy as heck, even for us, let alone your young master. This is the nearest Kazan we could afford to stay in, at least among the ones that I manage, yet its location in the back streets heavily limits the level of decency it can afford. My deepest and sincerest apologies, young master. Don't worry, we can't always sleep in decent places. It looks just fine for an overnight stay to me. Are you nuts? That thing... Or can that thing even fit all of us in there? Much did I wish to guide the honored guests to the family mansion in the central zone. However, the time... Oh, the sweeping wave. Doesn't that start at 3:13 in the morning? I feel like we've got plenty of time to get there. Exactly. Don't we have more than enough time to get to the family mansion? According to the H-Corp travel guide, the central area is only like an hour away from here. Has the honored guest traveled to District 8 before? Well, no. This is my first time here, but... Then one must ask how the honored guest could claim to have the full understanding of a place merely by flipping through a book, when she hasn't had to contend with it in person. Innumerable, unpredictable changes await in this teeming jungle of buildings, the ever-shifting structures, the constantly changing paths, ambushes from foolish yet vicious syndicates, or even officers of the back streets. Oh! We are beset by danger from all sides! Such bold, flippant approach to predicting the phenomena of this place is to court death. Even a toddler must know that. One fails to disguise his utter sorrow at the inadequacy of her wisdom. Is it just me, or are we all thinking back to Ishmael back at the Great Lake? Zip it, Dante. But if the guidebook lists a path, does it not imply that it is technically possible to reach there in time? Otis suddenly took a step forward. In her hand was the H-Corp travel pamphlet that Ishmael was talking about. I have faith that if our executive manager would lead us in your directionally challenged stead, they would be able to lead us to our destination before night falls.
Me?
This does not appear to have been discussed aforehand. Very well. Allow me to speak freely, without frills. My responsibility is to bring the honored guest to the central zone, and to ensure the young master's safety. It is, indeed, technically possible to reach the family mansion before the night in the back streets commences. Technically. Yet, not even one iota of danger to the young master shall be permitted. The mansion that has been so graciously bestowed upon this humble servant is not to guide the young master with haste, but to guide him with utmost safety. Ho-ho. It is said that those engaging in strategies and plans must remain wary of losing sight of their purpose, to stubbornly forge on toward the family mansion in lieu of necessary intel to see when these mobs of assailants would end, is to wrongly prioritize the journey over the destination.
You.
Wonderful. Truly impressive. You have all the qualities of someone I would trust with my life when devising a stratagem. This is the most fitting attitude for those who genuinely wish the best for those they serve. Otis, you're eating this up? You're falling for this? You? I'm gonna have to knock you down on my sinners I would trust with my life list by one. Really? You're just gonna start going along with him all of a sudden? I have misunderstood your intentions. Truly. You're gonna feel real stupid when he's evil. They sparked my ire by comparing some of your choice words with my very own. What do you... Otis. Really? You're gonna feel so goddamn dumb in an hour. Yet now my eyes have been opened to the honest loyalty that lies within your heart. Ha ha ha. This humble servant did not imagine, even in his wildest dreams, that there would be someone who understands the fathoms of his loyalty. It seems that the young master has certainly gained an eye for allies and fellowships. This is a cause for much relief in my heart. Listen to him. This one knows how to jest. We're basically best buds now, huh? I may have lost my cool for a moment there. Anyway, this man speaks true. It is highly likely that we would be exposed to attacks of similar nature were we to continue moving at this time. She's just fully on his side now, isn't she? That's when I realized that she was looking in my direction. The exaggerated smile had all but completely faded from her face, replaced with an odd but dead serious expression. When her gaze is locked, she nodded. She must be completely turned around by that guy. Is this her way of saying, so long, I'm gonna quit and go work with this guy now? Thanks for everything? And as for this hotel, or she's planning to backstab him? I don't know. Who's to say? Honestly, she probably just likes his brown nosing since she does it so much. And as for this hotel, it is still much better than sleeping in an outdoor tent barracks. We should be able to relieve ourselves of some fatigue here before moving on. Did you not earlier insist on continuing our search for a better accommodation with the greatest vehemence, Miss Otis? Yeah, whatever. We get your point. Let's go inside. Oh, my humblest self can only behold your generous acceptance of this insufficient lodging with the deepest gratitude. And definitely not where there's going to be an ambush of 200,000 fixers.
After all that serious talk, the man seemed oddly relieved to hear our decision as he brought his fist and palm together. Yeah, I bet he's relieved because we're walking into his trap.
Architecture of today mustn't be judged with such haste, merely by an observation of their exterior. The interior may hold aught to be surprised of. Worry not.
With Rodion surrendered,
Wouldn't that be nice?
we made our way into the building. Oh, this actually ain't so bad. It's clean in here.
His place presents a rather classical aesthetic. The landscape paintings lining the wall give off a rather sophisticated mood.
And it's much more spacious inside than it looks from the outside. Did they use some kind of space expansion technology in here, too?
No. It seems that the building only appeared small due to the density of structures in proximity.
Well, the door is now open. Should my presence be required, I shall be in the small shed next to this building. Please, do converse freely. The man smiled awkwardly and quietly excused himself as the excitement amongst the sinners began to grow. Meanwhile, Hong Lu stood a fair distance from the guide, quietly watching his face as he left. His expression was enigmatic, as if he were gazing upon the clouds, the flowers, or even the wind. Yet there was no light in those eyes. It was as if they beheld a storm cloud, a desolate field of wilted flowers, and a howling, destructive gale. Do you suspect something, Honglu? So I decided to ask. Not yet, I don't think. Huh? Not yet? Gia? I'm gonna voice it as if it's Gia.
So, big brother.
Big brother.
Oh, voice crack right at the worst time.
So, big brother, something felt off to you too, huh?
I knew it! Oh, I knew it. I knew it. Come on. We saw so much of her in Dawn's chapter. I had a feeling. That's when we caught a familiar voice. I'll work on her voice. It'll fix. Wow. Chichun, it's you. And so soon, too.
Yeah, I told you I had a feeling we'd be seeing each other again very soon.
Have you been well, young master? I'm so glad to see that you're doing well, Mr. Wei. Oh, wait. Don't tell me you're staying here too, Chichun.
I normally wouldn't ever set foot in a place like this, but I ran into some kind of large-scale construction on my way back to the family mansion. Had to come in through the back streets.
So we weren't the only ones troubled by that random construction site. Whoa! Hail to thee! Gah! The confident look on Chichun's face was immediately replaced by that of alarm. Oh no, she doesn't know yet. Oh, okay. Well, all right. You can't blame her. Honestly, can't blame her.
Did she lose all her memories again? Is she with you?
No, Don Quixote is the same as always. Ahem, ahem, ahem.
But she looks like such an airhead.
Young Chichun! Well, wouldst thou accompany me to the lounge but a moment, so that we may share a moment of catching up?
Oh, yeah, actually. Let's do that. Hold on.
Gia seemed to hesitate for a moment, staring at Dawn after hearing that her memories were intact. Before walking right up to her.
I like that idea. Shall we? Wait, why don't you go and find a room for me to stay in while I talk some things out with her? What? You wanted to do some catching up, right?
Tis, Manager Esquire!
Loss of critical personnel may be a cause for disciplinary action, Dante.
I don't think there's anything wrong with making friends, though.
Looks like Chichun really likes Dawn if she's comfortable enough to tease her like that. It's not Dawn she likes. She obviously just wants Dawn's power she saw back then.
My lady, this is hardly the appropriate place for...
Fine. I'll try again later. Go get some sleep. I'm heading in too.
Okay, I think I'm kind of finding the sweet spot, although my vocal range is having trouble keeping it, but I think the sweet spot is like...
Not the normal Tifrith who's like all the way up here. And not quite the Tifrith that's all the way down here. But like kinda in the middle, like right here. Like kinda casual, but not, you know what I mean?
Ugh, I'm gonna need so much hot tea after this. Chichun sighed with a bit of disappointment before heading into the lobby. Well, let's all head inside now. So I and the rest of the sinners followed her into the lodging. Dude, this, like, okay. I'm only mentioning it now because I barely noticed the view in the background. This would actually be a pretty nice place to stay. Like, it's got art all along the walls. It's got what seems to be a good view. It's got square light. That's pretty, I don't know. I'd stay here. Everyone was busy looking around and commenting on various things in our lodging, but Sinclair appeared to be the most anxious of them all. Sinclair?
Something in here stands out. Like, imagine an ideal picture. Did you?
No, our boy, he's happy. All right, think of something artsy to bring up quickly. Keep it going, keep him happy.
Did you call?
Oh, I missed that joke, Yi-sung. That's not what I'm not... Anyway, am I the only one who feels like something stands out like a sore thumb from the whole picture? Ooh, yeah, glad you brought it up. I didn't say anything because I thought it was just me. Radia. So, what's so off about this place? Isn't it obvious? Where'd all the complimentary snacks go? What's that weird mystery table at the center of this room? Huh. That is kind of weird, though. What's that table doing there?
Its saturated colors are quite the pleasant sight to behold.
So, is it any better inside? What the heck is that hideous table? The kerfuffle sparked by the particularly unsightly piece of indoor furniture calmed somewhat once everyone made it inside the building. We weren't all inside yet? Of course, no one was able to discern the real purpose of that table yet.
Every step on the floor leaves black residue on the shoes.
Not only the floor, touching the walls leaves an unidentifiable black substance on one's fingers.
Not to mention how the walls ripple in an odd fashion. What could possibly be the construction of this structure?
Well, my guess is that the maintenance staff's been slacking. Maybe. Why is everything so neatly organized if that's the case? I've been to enough seedy establishments to tell when a place has gone a while without a tidy up. At least it appears that each room is furnished with a bed. While this is far from optimal, Executive Manager, we may be able to rest here. Oh boy, I wasn't ready.
Huh. I guess they really didn't have the time to clean up.
Jia Chichun, the last person to walk in after having taken her time to examine the area outside the lobby, stared blankly around the room with an aghast expression.
I'm not even sure what to say to this ridiculous negligence.
Then found her room after leaving a scathing remark. It ain't the first time we're sauntering right into some shady business, is it? Let's just cross that bridge when we come to it, yeah? I guess. Anyone could tell there was something definitely wrong about that guy. Some sinners, including Heathcliff, had already slumped to the floor. What the heck is that word? I have never seen that in my life. Vociferously expressing their desire to rest with a collective sigh of exhaustion. Well, it is pretty weird, but at least we have a roof over our heads.
In that case, Dante, perhaps this may be a good time to announce today's close of business.
Huh. I've never made this announcement outside the bus before. Oh, right. I hereby confirm today's close of business for the sinners.
Understood. Thank you kindly. Starting now, you will all be given a maximum of 12 hours to partake in sleep and rest. The duration is subject to change. Have a good night.
Seems kind. Oddly kind for her. As soon as she finished, the sinners each began to relax in their own ways, some stumbling into their rooms, while others lingered to speculate over the bizarre table at the center of the room. Save for Otis, that is. Got something to say, Otis? Yes, Executive Manager. It's about our guide. King Tao. Oh, your new best friend from earlier? Seemed like you guys were getting along pretty well. What? That is simply untrue! Did you not see the signal I gave you earlier? What signal? Oh, you mean when you nodded slightly in my direction? Indeed! That individual has an informational advantage over us when it comes to this locale. Regardless of how sound the accusations we came up were, he would have been able to explain them away, using his familiarity with the region. I thought, as a party with an informational disadvantage, it would be wise to feign camaraderie and friendship with that individual, and go along with their plans while trying to dig out as much intel as possible. I seriously thought that suspicious guy totally won you over. Executive Manager! I've been in this business for many years! How could you even imagine that I would be fooled by an amateur spy who's so overtly It's nothing. Otis's disappointment was palpable, but she stopped herself as though she remembered that there were more important matters at hand. While it is uncertain as to how long that individual will be accompanying us, it would be reasonable to speculate that he approached the LCCB with the explicit purpose of eliminating Hong Lu, Jia Baoyu. I present the fact that it was Pilot, that inexperienced greenhorn who somehow conveniently came across this connection, as another evidence supporting the suspicion. That's also true.
Faust also has information to share.
Faust joined the conversation after listening to us discuss for some time.
A review of every known taboo has failed to identify one he called residential non-aggression taboo that universally prohibits acts of violence within residential areas.
Then that also has to be...
It is too early to come to conclusions regarding that matter. It appears that this area, Hong Ron, has taboos that change depending on your location within its territory.
However, considering every other circumstantial evidence, we can come to a conclusion that he was most likely lying to us.
Your assessment cannot be denied.
In that case, we must already be deep within the enemy's machinations. The constant stream of random assailments we faced earlier was also likely a part of their plan. It may very well be that this building itself is also a trap, yet we lack the intelligence about this particular back streets to be certain. However, we do have one minor advantage. It seems that they have severely underestimated our capabilities. Given the low caliber of the assailants, they decided to send after us. One thing we can capitalize on is that mutual lack of intel. Keep our guard up, remain alert, and we should be able to navigate our way out of this trap, Executive Manager. Okay. I get it now. Do you? I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Honestly, I didn't know who or what to trust. Then I would appreciate it if you could trust me fully next time. Otis bowed politely and returned to her room. I mean, to be fair, Otis, you have, like, never gone that direction before as far... Well... you usually take a more aggressive approach. Faust and I chatted a little more about King Tao and his plans, but our discussion ended without bearing much fruit. And with that, since this episode has proven to be quite long so far, I think we're gonna call it right there. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And in the next one, regardless of how long it takes us, we are going to finish The Night in the Backstreets. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.